Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just finished watching Yakitori, Soldiers of Misfortune. So, I'm a big fan of Carlo Zen's previous work, Saga of Tanya the Evil. The isekai about a salaryman who becomes a little girl inside of a World War I inspired battlefield. So when I heard that he had a different science fiction novel series that happens to deal with a bunch of disposable soldiers fighting animals on a faraway planet, I figured that it would be an interesting idea. And thankfully, there are some interesting concepts that are delved into this adaptation, but I wouldn't say that it's one of Netflix's stronger offerings. Not to say that it's totally bad, though. Let's get to the story, shall we? The story follows Akira, a soldier who is sent into the Yakitori uh, group of soldiers in the future, alongside a British girl named Amalia, a Chinese girl named Zihan, an American named Tyrone, and a Swedish man, all before a huge incident occurs on the planet known as Barca. So the five soldiers have to work together to take out the enemies and to survive alongside the corpse they're with, while they also try to get through a trial at the end after being scapegoated as the ones behind this whole incident. So it's only a 6-episode series with a 45-minute opening episode, so it certainly doesn't take up too much of your time if you're planning to just go through the entire show. But my problem with the series is twofold. First, the CG animation. This is done by Studio Erect, which previously did the Bright Samurai Soul movie. Well, while the animation here is a lot better than it was in that film, it's very clear that Studio Erect is still working on how to make the CGI look good. I wouldn't say it's the worst CGI I've seen, but it's definitely nowhere near on the level of Studio Orange's work on Beastars or even Trigun Stampede. On top of that, the characters just aren't as interesting and the themes aren't as resonant as they are with Saga of Tanya the Evil. Carlo Zen still obviously gets a lot of staples of his writing, such as the intense violence and the international conflicts of war, just done in a futuristic setting instead of one that's far in the past. But the characters really aren't as interesting as Tanya de Gurachov or any of the members of her squad of mages. I don't know, just Tanya and the mages raining down fire on top of other soldiers is a lot more interesting to me than a bunch of space marines shooting at a bunch of animals that are also in space marine gear. Surprisingly, it feels a lot more generic when it's done with the CGI art style, as well as when it's done with these kinds of action scenes. To be fair, there are a fair amount of cool action scenes, like using missiles to destroy spider tanks, or going through a base with the animals coming at you in like a wave of rodents. And there's even a few funny moments throughout the training scenes that reminded me of Starship Troopers, but the satire and messages aren't really done particularly well. And once you get that out of the way, a lot of the five soldiers do come across as kind of generic when it comes to their personalities. Similar to the video game Fuse, it feels like a concept that had more interesting ideas in its original form, but as far as this adaptation goes, it's one of the more generic anime that Netflix has made so far. It's definitely a time killer, but you're not missing much if you watch the whole thing. That's why I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. See you next time.